Unit 1. Recording 4. 1.
A few years ago, I was going out with this guy, and he was like, perfect, or so I thought at the time. Cute, funny, clever. We used to hang out together all the time. I was like totally in love. I mean, head over heels. We'd spend every moment together, We were inseparable. So, anyway, one day I was eating a sandwich at work, having my lunch break, and I got this text from him, and he said he was breaking up with me. Just like that. Totally out of the blue, It was completely devastating, and, what was worse, I didn't have anyone to turn to. I'd completely lost touch with all my friends just to be with this guy. For a couple of days, I felt totally numb, but then I went and found my old friends. They were still hanging out in the same place, and I cried. I just bawled my eyes out, and they were great. I mean, really great. I learnt my lesson, I'm not doing that again.
2.
A couple of years ago, I was preparing for this engineering exam, the undergraduate aptitude test in engineering. I was studying hard, I'd get up, have breakfast, go to the library. Then I wouldn't come home till 8 or 9 at night. I really needed to pass. There was a lot of expectation, a lot of pressure on me, and I needed a good mark to get a place at university. So I took the exam and I felt reasonably confident. And on the day of the results, I checked the website. My hands were shaking. And guess what? I'd failed. Completely failed. No place at university, no future in engineering. I felt so ashamed. For days I didn't know what to do. I didn't tell my parents. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. I was quite literally in shock. I just kept crying. 3 or 4 days I carried on like that, and then finally my friend asked me a question. She said, "Do you really want to be an engineer?" I was so surprised because no one had ever asked me that. But I realised that, yes, I really did want to be an engineer. So I took a year out, got a job, and studied really hard for the exam all over again. And when I took the exam a second time, I passed. I think I was really determined not to fail again.
3.
This sounds really unimpressive as a story, but for some reason it changed my life. So, one day in secondary school, it was raining, and we were sitting in the classroom waiting for our English lesson to start. And, I wasn't a great student. I mean, I wouldn't really misbehave or anything, but I used to spend most of my time daydreaming. Anyway, the teacher walked in and switched off the lights, which was odd, and he said, "Today, I just want you to listen to the rain." So, at first we were playing around, making jokes, but after a while, we all kind of calmed down, and the only noise was the sound of rain. Just the rain. "Don't think," he said, "just listen." And the rain kept falling, and we kept listening, and after 40 minutes or so, by the end of the lesson, I felt completely calm, just completely present, in the moment, and I just wanted to express myself, to write. It had a big, big impact on me, and ever since then, I've written every day in my journal. Before that, I never used to have any ambitions, but since then, that lesson, it really inspired me to become a writer.
4.
I always felt that I never measured up to my older brother. I used to think that he was better than me. He was the high achiever, while I was just average. He would get the high marks at school while I would just get the average marks. He was always studying while I was just hanging out with friends. This thought followed me all through my 20s. Then one day, I got a new job. A good job. And I was so happy. I simply couldn't believe my luck. And my brother said, "It's not luck. You've always been the smart one." And I said, "What? What are you talking about?" And he said, "You've always known how to be happy and get what you want. I've always had to work hard, but you sailed through life. And this completely blew my mind, you know. I realised what a total fool I'd been to always think that I was inferior to my brother.